The sound of the knife scraping against the plate felt louder than usual. Lena sat across from me, eyes glued to her phone. Her fork barely touched the food. I cleared my throat. "You've checked that screen more than you've looked at me tonight." She didn't even flinch. "It's work. You know how it is. Work at 9 in the evening." I tried to smile, hoping she'd meet my eyes. She didn't. Deadlines don't sleep. I stared at her fingers tapping the screen, the glow reflecting off her wedding ring. "You laughed just now," I said quietly. "Work must be funny tonight." That got her attention. She set the phone down with a sigh. "Ethan, please, don't start." "I'm not starting," I said. "I'm just trying to have dinner with my wife." Her lips tightened. "You're making it sound like I'm doing something wrong." "I don't have to make it sound like anything," I said, leaning forward. "You're not here, Lena. Not really." Her chair scraped the floor as she stood. "I'm tired, Ethan. You always want to talk about feelings. Can't we just eat in peace?" "Peace." I laughed softly. "Feels more like a ceasefire." She frowned. "What's that supposed to mean?" "It means I don't know when we stopped being us." She looked at me, expression flat. "Maybe when you stopped listening." The air felt sharp. "That's not fair. Neither is feeling like a stranger in your own home," she said, arms crossed. "You think you're the only one unhappy?" My pulse thudded in my ears. "Then tell me, what are you so unhappy about?" Her silence said more than words ever could. She reached for her phone again. That tiny, familiar buzz filled the air. I couldn't stop myself. "Who keeps texting you?" Her head snapped up. "Don't, Lena." "Ethan," I said, "don't." I stood. "Give me the phone." "No." The word landed like a slap. I took a step closer. "If it's just work, then you have nothing to hide." She hesitated just long enough. That's all it took. I grabbed it before she could move. "Ethan." Her voice cracked. The screen lit up. Ryan's name. My best friend. For a second, I couldn't breathe. The message preview burned into my vision. "Can't stop thinking about last night. When can I see you again?" My chest tightened. I scrolled. Dozens of messages. Words that used to belong to us. "Miss you. You make me feel alive." "He doesn't deserve you." Ryan's name. Her replies. My wife's heart laid open in pixels. "Ethan, please, how long?" My voice was barely a whisper. She froze. "How long, Lena?" Her lips trembled, but no words came out. "You cheated on me." "With him." "I didn't mean for it to happen," she said, voice shaking. "It just don't." I threw the phone onto the table. "Don't you dare use that excuse." Tears welled in her eyes. "You don't understand what it's like to feel invisible, Ethan." "Invisible." I stared at her, disbelieving. "You were my whole world." "And that's the problem," she shouted. "You made me feel trapped. You planned everything, every dinner, every weekend, every dream. You never asked what I wanted." My mouth went dry. "So you wanted him?" She looked away. "He listens." I laughed, a broken, hollow sound. "He listens. My best friend." "Don't say it like that," she whispered. "It wasn't supposed to go this far, but it did." She nodded, a tear slipping down her cheek. I felt my knees weaken. "All those nights you said you were working late." "I'm sorry," she said. "Sorry." I could barely form words. "You destroyed everything we built. Everything." "I didn't mean to hurt you." "Then why did you keep going?" Her silence was worse than her lies. I sat down, head in my hands. "I would have done anything for you, Lena." "I know," she said softly. "That's why I couldn't tell you." The clock ticked between us. Somewhere in the kitchen, the faucet dripped. I looked up, voice trembling. "Do you love him?" She hesitated, then nodded once. That single motion split me open. I leaned back, staring at the ceiling. "And me?" She looked at me with eyes that once held everything I loved. "I haven't loved you in years, Ethan." The room went silent. My chest felt hollow, my throat tight. "Then why stay?" "Because you made it easy," she whispered. "You never asked questions. You believed in me." The words sank like stones. I stood, hands shaking. So what now? I'm leaving, she said. I packed some things earlier. I'll come for the rest tomorrow. The chair legs scraped as she pushed back. You planned this, I said, voice breaking. You planned this dinner. I didn't want to end it like this, but you did. She paused at the doorway. I hope someday you understand. I laughed under my breath. Oh, I understand, Lena, perfectly. The door closed behind her. The house felt colder instantly. I sat there for a long time, staring at the phone she'd left behind. Ryan's last message glowed on the screen again. Can't wait to see you tomorrow. I typed a single reply and pressed send. She's all yours. Then, I turned the phone off and let the silence swallow me whole. I didn't sleep that night. I just watched her move around the house, collecting the pieces of our life in cardboard boxes. Do you really have to do this now? I asked. My voice sounded strange, like it belonged to someone else. Lena didn't look up. It's easier this way. Easier for who? For both of us, she said quickly. Dragging it out won't help. I laughed under my breath. You mean it won't help you? She didn't reply. The clinking of glass echoed as she wrapped our wedding photo in newspaper. Leave that, I said. It's mine too. Not anymore. She froze, then set the frame down on the counter. You're angry. I get it. No, I whispered. You don't get it. You burned everything, and you're talking like it's paperwork. Her phone buzzed. She reached for it without hesitation. I didn't need to ask who it was. Tell him I said hi, I muttered. Ethan, just go. Lena, please. She hesitated at the door, a bag slung over her shoulder. I didn't want it to end like this. It ended the moment you chose him. Her eyes softened for a second, then hardened again. Goodbye. The door closed, and the silence that followed was unbearable. I stared at the space she left behind half-empty drawers. One slipper under the couch, her perfume still hanging in the air. It felt like breathing in ghosts. I picked up the photo she'd wrapped and tore the paper away. We looked so happy in it. Lies, every pixel of it. My chest hurt. I went to the kitchen, grabbed a bottle from the top shelf, and stared at it for a long time. I hadn't touched alcohol in years. I twisted the cap off and took a long swallow. It burned, but the pain felt good. Real eyes sat on the floor, back against the counter, bottle in hand. The house was too quiet, the kind of quiet that makes you want to scream. I called Ryan, once, twice, straight to voicemail. I tried again. Ryan, it's me, I said when it beeped. My voice shook. I don't know what I did to deserve this, man. You were my brother. I stopped. My throat closed up. I hope she's worth it. I hung up and stared at the dark screen. A knock came at the door sometime later. I ignored it. Another knock, louder this time. Ethan. It was Noah, I sighed. Go away. The door creaked open anyway. You didn't lock it, he said, stepping inside. You look like hell, thanks. He looked around the mess, half-packed boxes, bottles, scattered photos. She really left. Yeah, where's she staying? Why do you care? I don't, he said, closing the door. But you should. I looked up at him. What do you want me to do, Noah? Chase after her? Beg her to come back? He crouched next to me. No, I want you to stop drinking and stand the hell up. I held up the bottle. Too late. He snatched it from my hand and poured the rest into the sink. You're better than this. Am I? Yeah, he said, voice firm. She betrayed you. He betrayed you. Don't let them take the rest of you too. I rubbed my temples. You make it sound easy. It's not. But sitting here won't fix anything. I looked at him, eyes heavy. I loved her, Noah. He nodded. I know. I trusted him. I know that too. My chest tightened. Then why does it feel like I'm the one who did something wrong? Because you cared, he said quietly. And people like them don't know how to handle that. The words sank into me like slow poison. I stared at the ceiling. I don't even know who I am without her. He put a hand on my shoulder. Then figure it out. Start over. I laughed weakly. You make it sound like a project. He smiled faintly. Maybe it is. You've always built things. Build yourself this time. I didn't answer. My throat hurt too much to speak. Noah glanced toward the door. Mrs. Taylor saw your lights on. She asked if you were okay. I snorted. Did you tell her I'm perfect? She said to call her if you needed someone to talk to. Yeah, I said, eyes half closed. I'll call my 70-year-old neighbor to discuss heartbreak. She's been through more than you think, he said, standing up. Don't underestimate people just because they're old. Noted. He grabbed his jacket. I'm staying the night. You shouldn't be alone. I'm fine. You're lying, he said flatly. I didn't argue. He cleaned up in silence, picking up shattered glass from the floor. Every sound, the clink, the sweep of the broom felt like another reminder of what was gone. When he was done, he sat back down beside me. I don't know how to start again, I admitted quietly. You will, he said. Maybe not tonight. Maybe not tomorrow. But you will. I don't believe that. He looked me dead in the eye. Then borrow my belief until you do. I didn't answer. My body felt heavy, my mind numb. You can drown, or you can rebuild, he said finally. Your choice. The words echoed long after he left the room. I sat there until the bottle on the counter caught the first morning light. The air smelled of old wine and regret. I whispered to the empty house. She's gone. The walls didn't answer. They never did. I didn't go to work for a week. Maybe 2. The days bled together, just like the coffee that kept going cold before I ever drank it. When Jordan finally called, I answered out of habit. Ethan, you alive? Define alive. He sighed. You can't keep disappearing like this. The firm needs you. The firm can manage, I said. I'm not exactly irreplaceable. That's the problem, he replied. You are. I leaned back in my chair, staring at the half-empty bottle on my desk. Tell that to my wife. Oh, wait, she's not my wife anymore. He went quiet. She filed. Yesterday. I forced a laugh. Guess congratulations are in order. I'm sorry, man, don't be, I said. It's cleaner this way. She gets the house. I get the silence. Jordan paused. You sure you don't want to fight it? What's the point? I asked. You can't win a war when the other side already surrendered. There was a long pause, then a soft exhale. You should come back to work, Ethan. Sitting in that house won't help. Maybe I like sitting in it, I said. At least the walls don't lie. He didn't respond, just hung up after a quiet, take care of yourself. I tried watching TV, reading, walking. Everything felt empty. Even breathing hurt. Every time I opened my phone. Their faces were there, Lena and Ryan, smiling, traveling, hashtagging. Love like it was something new they'd invented. One photo gutted me more than the rest, her wearing the same red scarf I'd bought her last winter. The caption read, "Finally found happiness." I threw the phone across the room. The screen cracked, but not enough. That night, someone knocked on my door. Ethan. It was Mrs. Taylor, my 70-year-old neighbor. She stood there, holding a small dish of pie. Thought you could use some sugar, she said, stepping inside without waiting for an answer. I tried to smile. You shouldn't have, Mrs. Taylor. I should have, she said firmly. You look like you haven't eaten since the Cold War. I managed a weak laugh. Close enough. She set the pie down. You think staying in the dark makes it hurt less. I think it keeps people from seeing me fall apart. She looked at me, eyes soft but sharp. Falling apart isn't the same as giving up. I'm not sure I know the difference anymore. Then learn it, she said simply. Pain has lessons if you stop fighting it. I didn't answer. She poured me tea from a thermos she'd brought. You know, my husband left me once. I blinked. I didn't know that. 30 years ago. He came back, full of apologies. I told him to take his regrets and feed them to someone else. I smiled faintly. So, you believe in revenge? I believe in balance, she said, eyes narrowing. Karma's slow, but it never loses its way. Her words hit like a quiet explosion. Karma, I repeated. Yes. She smiled. You don't have to chase it. You just have to heal enough to watch it work. When she left, The silence felt different, less like a wait, more like a spark waiting for air. The next morning, I went to the office. Jordan looked surprised when I walked in. "Well, look who resurrected. Don't get too excited," I said. "I'm just here to work." "That's what I like to hear." He handed me a folder. New project proposal. Luxury housing. Big investors. You'd be lead designer. I opened it, scanning the sketches. "It's ambitious." "Good," he said. "So are you." "I used to be." "Then start again." I stared at the blank corner of the blueprint page. Something in me stirred a faint, dangerous thing called purpose. "I'll take it," I said. He grinned. "There's my guy." Days became weeks. I buried myself in work, in design, in silence. Every line I drew, every model I built, somehow it all felt like rebuilding myself. One evening, Jordan leaned on my office doorframe. "You've been here 12 hours straight. Almost done." "You said that 4 hours ago." I didn't look up. "It's easier to work than to think." He crossed his arms. "You know you can't outrun heartbreak, right?" "I'm not running," I said. "I'm rebuilding." He studied me for a moment, then nodded. "Then, make it worth something." When he left, I stared at the model under the desk light. It wasn't just a design anymore, it was a monument to pain, precision, and defiance. Later that night, as I locked up, I passed a cafe. Through the window, I saw Lena and Ryan again. They were laughing, heads close together. For a moment, the world froze. She saw me. Our eyes met. She looked startled, then guilty. I didn't stop walking. I didn't wave. I didn't even blink. Inside me, something shifted, a quiet, cold kind of power. I whispered to myself, "Let karma do the work." Back home, I placed Mrs. Taylor's pie plate on the counter. I hadn't touched it, but I didn't throw it away either. I sat down with my sketchbook, drew the outline of a house, and whispered, "Maybe this is where it starts again." I didn't know that fate was already circling, waiting for me to finish that design, waiting to bring everything full circle. But for the first time in months, I wanted to see what came next. "Congratulations, Ethan. You've officially built the firm's biggest project yet." Jordan's voice carried across the conference room, full of the kind of pride I hadn't heard in a long time. I barely smiled. "It's just a building," I said. He shook his head. "It's more than that. You turned your breakdown into a blueprint for success." I gave a faint laugh. "You make it sound poetic." "Hell, it is. Clients are lining up. Investors too." "You're back, man. Was I ever gone?" I asked quietly. He grinned. "You tell me." Months had passed since the mess. The noise in my head had dulled, replaced by the hum of construction sites, contracts, and midnight sketches. I had learned to channel my pain into precision, every wall, every line. Drawn like revenge disguised as art. But one morning, Jordan dropped a file on my desk. "Investment opportunity," he said. "Old landlords looking to sell a property fast. Great deal if you've got cash to move." I flipped the folder open, then froze. The address hit me like a punch to the chest. Their house, Lena and Ryan's home, the same one she'd posted about, the one they'd built a new life in. I closed the file slowly. "Who's selling?" "Guy named Grayson, retired. Moving out of state," Jordan said. "You know the place?" I met his eyes. "You could say that," he frowned. "You okay?" "I'm perfect." That evening, I called the number listed in the file. "Mr. Grayson?" I said. "Yes, speaking." His voice was tired, gravelly. "I'm interested in the property you've listed." "Oh, thank God," he said. "You'd be saving me a lot of trouble. Tenants stopped paying rent, and I just want out. Quick sale, no fuss. Cash deal possible." There was a pause. "You serious?" "Completely." "Well, that'd speed things up," he said, clearly relieved. "Can you view the house tomorrow?" "I already have," I said softly. He chuckled. "You move fast, son. You have no idea." The next day, I met him at the property. The moment I stepped inside, it felt surreal. The same walls. The same white curtains Lena once boasted about picking herself. Only now, They were dusty, forgotten. Mr. Grayson handed me the keys. Beautiful house. Shame about the last tenants. Moved out last week, left in a hurry. Really? I said, running a hand along the kitchen counter. Couple in a rough spot, I think. Always looked tense, toward the end. I almost smiled. Did they leave a forwarding address? He shook his head. Didn't ask. Didn't care. I nodded. Then I'll take it. He blinked. Just like that. Just like that. Full cash offer. He laughed in disbelief. Son, I wish all buyers were like you. Some of us know exactly what we're buying. By evening, the paperwork was done. My name on every page. My money on the table. When Mr. Grayson left, I stood in the empty their living room, listening to the quiet hum of the ceiling fan. It was strange. I didn't feel anger. Not even sadness, just balance. I walked through the rooms one by one. Her perfume still lingered faintly in the bedroom. There was a small chip on the wall. I remembered when she'd dropped a photo frame there. My chest tightened for half a second, then loosened. This is mine now. I said aloud, and for the first time in months, I meant it. A week later, the landlord transfer notice went out. Standard procedure. Nothing dramatic. Just a clean, legal announcement with one simple line at the bottom. New property owner, Ethan Cole. I could almost imagine their faces when they read it. Lena's shock, turning to disbelief. Ryan's confidence cracking for once. Jordan called the next day. You actually bought it. Yeah, he laughed. You're unbelievable. I'm practical. He repeated. That's one word for it. What are you gonna do with the place? Keep it, I said. For now. He hesitated. Ethan. Are you sure this isn't it's about closure, I interrupted. The rest is just real estate. He sighed. You scare me sometimes. Good, I said, smiling faintly. Means I'm doing something right. That night, I poured a glass of whiskey and sat on the back porch. Their porch, watching the city lights flicker through the trees. For months, I'd been crawling through the ashes of what they'd left behind, but now I was standing in the fire and it didn't burn anymore. Mrs. Taylor's words echoed in my mind. Karma's slow, but it never loses its way. I raised the glass. You found your way, didn't you? The wind answered with a soft rustle through the yard, almost like applause. I leaned back, closing my eyes. Power didn't always come from shouting. Sometimes it came from silence, from a name printed neatly on a deed. From a smile no one else got to see. My first real smile in months. And it felt like victory. My phone rang late in the afternoon. The kind of hour when sunlight bleeds through blinds like guilt. The number was unfamiliar. Local though. Hello. I said. There was a pause. Then, a voice I hadn't heard in a year. Ethan. Ryan. For a second, I didn't breathe. I just listened to the sound of him remembering how to say my name. Yeah, I said finally. Who's this? Another pause. A shaky exhale. It's me, Ryan. Ryan, I repeated, calm, even. To what do I owe the surprise? I didn't realize you were the new owner. We just got the notice. I thought it was a mistake. No mistake, I said. Rent's due on the 1st. He went completely silent. The kind of silence that folds itself into regret. You bought the house? He asked, his voice cracking. I did. Why? I smiled to myself. Good investment, great neighborhood. You remember how Lena used to brag about it? He swallowed hard. Ethan, look, I cut in. You don't need to explain. Just pay the rent. For a while, neither of us spoke. The sound of his breathing filled the gap between us. Uneven and guilty. She doesn't know, he finally said. She will, I replied. Are you doing this to get back at us? I leaned back in my chair, tapping the edge of my desk. No, Ryan, I'm doing business. You're just tenants. He muttered something under his breath, then louder. You really haven't changed, have you? I laughed quietly. No. You just never knew who I was. He started to say something, then stopped. The line clicked off a second later. A week passed before I saw them. I'd scheduled an inspection routine procedure. Nothing personal. When Lena opened the door, her expression froze. For a moment, I saw every lie, every secret flicker in her eyes like a film reel stuck on replay. "Ethan," she whispered. "Lena," I said evenly, "I'm here for the inspection." She stepped aside, wordless, her hands trembling slightly. The air between us was thick, not with love, not even hate, just unfinished business. Ryan appeared from the hallway. "You didn't have to come yourself," he muttered. "I like to be thorough," I said, walking past him. Old habit. The house smelled the same citrus candles, faint perfume, and something burnt underneath it all. I noticed the scuff marks on the wall, the mail piled up on the counter, the framed photo of them smiling on the mantel. I looked at it longer than I should have. "You've made it cozy," I said, running a finger along the edge of the frame. Lena shifted uncomfortably. "We tried. Looks like it." I met her gaze. "Shame about the rent delay." "We're sorting it out," Ryan said quickly. "I'm sure you are." He clenched his jaw. "You enjoying this?" I turned to him slowly. "You think this is enjoyment?" He looked away. "No, Ryan," I said quietly. "Enjoyment was a long time ago. This is peace." Lena followed me to the kitchen. Her voice was low, cautious. "Why are you doing this?" "I told Ryan," I said, opening a cabinet just to have something to do with my hands. "It's business, don't lie to me." I shut the cabinet door gently. "You'd know, wouldn't you?" She flinched. "Ethan," I met her eyes, steady. "I'm not here to hurt you, Lena. I'm not here to forgive you either. I just exist." "That's enough." Tears welled in her eyes, and she blinked them back fast. "You hate me." "I did," I said. Then I stopped. "Hate's a kind of connection, and you don't deserve that much space in my head." Her lip trembled. "So this is your revenge? Being cold?" "No," I said. "My revenge is being fine." Ryan appeared in the doorway, his voice tight. "Are we done here?" I nodded, setting the clipboard down. "Everything's in order. Just make sure the rent's in by Friday." He looked like he wanted to punch me. Or beg. Maybe both. "I never meant to hurt you," he said finally. I gave a short, humorless laugh. "That's the problem, Ryan. You never meant anything at all." He opened his mouth to respond, but Lena stopped him. Her hand brushed his arm, the same hand that used to fit perfectly in mine. "Let's just pay him," she whispered. I turned toward the door. Good idea. Outside, the air felt different. Clean. Mrs. Taylor was watering her plants next door. She spotted me and smiled faintly. "You did it, didn't you?" "Did what?" I asked. "Balanced the scales," she said. I smirked. "Maybe." She chuckled softly. "Told you, karma never loses its way." "Yeah," I said. "You did it." I glanced back at the house one last time. Behind the curtains, I saw movement, Lena watching me leave. For a second, our eyes met through the glass. She looked small, tired, haunted. I didn't wave, didn't smile, just turned and walked away. The sound of the door closing behind me was quiet, but it echoed all the same, like justice finding its rhythm. That night, Ryan texted one word, "Paid." I stared at the message for a long time, then typed back, "On time. Good job." And that was that. No shouting, no tears, no grand finale, just rent, due paid, and settled. Sometimes revenge doesn't roar. It whispers, and tonight, it whispered my name. I heard the first rumor in the office break room. "Did you see Ryan Taylor's company?" One of the architects whispered. "They're bleeding money. Half their clients pulled out." I pretended not to listen, but my coffee suddenly tasted sweeter. By the end of the week, the whispers followed me everywhere. "He's been showing up drunk to meetings." His wife left the last charity event in tears. They're selling their car. Karma wasn't fast. It was patient, precise. One evening, I was at my desk finishing a layout when Claire leaned against the doorframe. "You're still here?" she asked. "Deadlines don't respect dinner," I said, glancing up with a faint smile. she chuckled. You always have an excuse to stay late. Maybe I like the quiet. She walked in, her heels clicking softly on the floor. Or maybe you're avoiding the world. I looked at her, half amused. You analyzing me again, Dr. Claire? I don't need a degree to see you hide behind work, she said. You build walls that look like blueprints. Her tone was gentle, not prying. That's what made her different. Maybe, I said quietly, but at least these walls don't betray me. She sat on the edge of my desk, her eyes studying me. You've been through something ugly, haven't you? I exhaled slowly. Ugly doesn't begin to cover it. She nodded. Then stop pretending it never happened. I met her gaze. What if I already have? Claire smiled faintly. Then you wouldn't still talk like that. Her honesty hit harder than I expected. No pity, just truth. I laughed under my breath. You're dangerous. She shrugged. I just call what I see. Over the next few weeks, we talked more about work, life, everything in between. She had a calm presence, the kind that didn't fill silence but respected it. One night, as we walked out of the office together, she said, You look lighter lately, do I? I asked. Yeah, like you finally put something down. I smiled. Maybe I did. She tilted her head. Want to grab coffee? I hesitated, then nodded. Sure, it wasn't a date. Not really. But it was the first time in a long while I didn't feel like I was running from ghosts. Then came the call. It was late, past midnight. My phone buzzed on the nightstand. Ryan. I let it ring twice before answering. What? His voice was slurred. Ethan, hey man. It's been a while. Not long enough, I said flatly. He laughed weakly. Yeah, I deserve that. You sound drunk. Maybe I am, he muttered. You heard about the business.
I hear a lot of things, I said, leaning back against the headboard. It's bad, Ethan. Real bad. Investors pulled out. Employees left. I can't, he stopped, his breath shaking. We're behind on rent. I just need a little more time. There it was. The universe had finally completed its circle. How much time? I asked. A month. Just 1 month. Please. I didn't answer right away. I could almost hear him pacing, desperate, humiliated. Ryan, I said finally, you remember when Lena left? When I lost everything? He was silent. You told me I needed to stand on my own. That life doesn't wait for weakness. I was wrong, he said quickly. I was stupid. I cut him off. You were right. He stopped breathing for a second. What? You were right, I repeated. You taught me to stand on my own. You should try it too. Ethan, please. No extensions, I said calmly. Rent's due by the end of the week. He didn't speak. Just breathed, ragged, broken. You're enjoying this, he said finally. I exhaled. No. I'm just done being your fool. And then I hung up. The next morning, Claire noticed something in my face. You look satisfied, she said, stirring her coffee. Maybe I finally got closure, I said. She smiled. Closure or revenge? Both taste the same right now. She laughed softly. Careful, Ethan. Bitterness looks good on no one. It's not bitterness, I said. It's balance. She studied me for a moment, then nodded. Fair enough. 2 days later, I passed by the house. Ryan's car was gone. Lena stood outside on the porch, a phone pressed to her ear. She looked thinner, older, like life had finally caught up. When she saw me, she froze. Ethan, she said quietly. Lena. Her eyes darted to the ground. He told you, didn't he? I heard enough. Please, just give us time. I already gave you everything, I said. Time isn't part of the deal anymore. Her lips trembled. You've changed. I had to, I said. You made sure of that. She whispered something, but the wind took it before I could hear. I turned and walked back to my car. That night, I sat by my window, watching rain blur the city lights. My phone buzzed again, a message from Claire. Claire, still awake? Me, yeah. Claire, thinking too much? Me, always. Claire, then stop thinking. Just live. I stared at her words for a while, then smiled. For once, I didn't feel the ache in my chest. Karma had done its work. And maybe, just maybe, life was giving me a second chance, not to destroy, but to rebuild. The office was almost empty when she walked in. The hum of the air conditioner was the only sound until I heard her voice, soft, cracked, uncertain. Hey, she said. I looked up slowly. Lena. She smiled, or tried to. You still remember me. How could I forget? I leaned back in my chair, the pen still between my fingers. What brings you here? Her eyes flickered around the room, anywhere but me. You're doing well. I nodded. I am. She exhaled shakily. You probably don't want to see me. I shrugged. You came anyway. I didn't know who else to talk to, she whispered. That's new, I said quietly. She winced. I deserve that. I stayed silent. She fidgeted with her bag, the same nervous tick she'd always had. The sight stirred something distant, nostalgia, maybe, but hollow. I made a mistake, she said finally. Only one. Her eyes filled instantly. Ryan's gone. He cheated on me. I let out a soft breath. Poetic, isn't it? Her shoulders shook. I thought you'd hate me forever. I studied her face. The makeup couldn't hide the exhaustion, the lines forming where laughter used to live. I did, I admitted. For a while. And now? Now I don't think about you at all. She swallowed hard. That's worse somehow. It's better, I said. For both of us. She sank into the chair across from me, her fingers trembling. I kept waiting for karma to hit, you know. I didn't think it would destroy everything. Karma doesn't destroy, I said. It balances. Her lips quivered. You sound peaceful. I am. How? I smiled faintly. By letting go of people who confuse love with possession. She blinked back tears. I thought Ryan loved me. I'm sure he did. Just not enough to love anyone right. A small, bitter laugh escaped her. You're still calm, even now. It's unnerving. I've had practice. She rubbed her temples. I came here thinking maybe you'd yell, or, God, I don't know, slam the door in my face. I guess I deserved that. Probably, I said. But I'm not that person anymore. Her voice broke. I'm sorry. I looked at her for a long time. I know. She waited, maybe hoping for forgiveness, maybe something else. I gave her neither. Just silence. It filled the room like a verdict. Finally, she stood up. You've changed. I had to. She hesitated at the door. Do you ever miss us? I met her eyes. No. I miss who I thought we were. Her chin trembled. Goodbye, then. Goodbye, Lena. The door closed softly behind her. For a long moment, I just sat there, listening to the echo fade. Then I exhaled, deep, steady, final. Claire knocked a few seconds later, poking her head in. You okay? I nodded. Yeah. Just, clearing the past. She stepped inside, carrying 2 mugs. You look like you need this. I smiled. Coffee and timing, your specialties. She grinned. What did she want? To apologize, I said simply. And did you accept? I didn't have to. Claire handed me the mug. You're handling this better than most people would. I took a sip. Anger's heavy. I carried it long enough. She leaned on my desk. You always had that quiet strength. I noticed it the first day we met. That's just experience disguised as calm, I said. She tilted her head. No, that's peace disguised as power. Her words lingered. I chuckled softly. Maybe. Outside, the city lights shimmered against the glass. I thought of Lena, her face, her tears, her regret, and felt nothing. No rage. No satisfaction. Just release. Claire's voice broke the silence. You look lighter. I feel lighter, I said. Like something's been waiting years to lift. She smiled. Then maybe tonight's a good night to start over. Yeah, I murmured. Maybe it is. She moved toward the door, pausing before leaving. Come on, it's late. Let's get dinner. My treat. I stood, grabbed my coat. You don't have to bribe me with food. I'm not bribing, she said. I'm celebrating your emotional evolution. I laughed. That's a new one. As we walked out, I glanced once more at the empty chair where Lena had sat. The ghost of the past had finally said its last word. I turned off the lights. Let's go, I said. Claire smiled. Leaving the darkness behind? Exactly. The night air was cool, clean. For the first time in years, I wasn't haunted by what was lost, I was grounded in what remained. Sometimes closure doesn't come with a confrontation or forgiveness. Sometimes it walks out quietly and leaves you free. And that night, as I walked beside Claire, I realized, mine just had. The "For Sale" sign stood crooked in the yard, swaying in the wind like it couldn't decide whether to stay or fall. Fitting, I thought. This house had always been torn between love and resentment, between what I built and what was broken in it. Claire leaned against her car, sipping her coffee. You sure about this? I nodded. Yeah. It's time. She tilted her head. You sound calm. I am. It doesn't feel like losing something anymore. She smiled faintly. That's because you already let it go long before today. I watched the sunlight hit the old windows. I used to imagine walking through that door again, making it mine in the right way this time. But now. I don't want to. Because it's tied to them. Because it's tied to who I was, I said. Someone who thought revenge was closure. Claire handed me the keys. And now? Now I just want peace. We stood there quietly as the real estate agent pulled up, clipboard in hand. She was cheerful, oblivious to the emotional burial happening on the driveway. Mr. Cole, everything's finalized, she said. The buyers transferred the payment this morning. I nodded. So, it's officially theirs? Paperwork's done. Congratulations. She handed me a folder, shook my hand, and drove off. Just like that, years of history reduced to ink and signatures. Claire nudged my shoulder. You okay? I looked at the house one last time, the porch where Lena once laughed, the window Ryan cracked during an argument, the garden I planted just to feel control. All ghosts now. Yeah, I said softly. I'm okay. She gave me a look. You don't sound convinced. I am, I said again. Just, processing the silence. Claire smiled knowingly. Silence can be loud. I chuckled. Yeah. But today, it feels like peace instead of punishment. We got into my car. As I turned the key, I hesitated. Something in me wanted to say goodbye, not to them, but to who I was inside these walls. I rolled down the window, glanced once more at the place that had held so much chaos. "Thank you," I whispered, my voice barely audible. "For teaching me what not to be." Claire's hand rested on mine. "What did you say?" "Just something I needed to." She smiled. "Closure." "Acceptance," I said. "They're not the same." She nodded slowly, understanding without pressing further. As we drove away, the rearview mirror framed the house shrinking behind us until it was just another shape in the distance. I didn't look back again. A few weeks later, I was standing in front of a construction site, a new project, a new start. The scent of wet cement and wood filled the air. My company had partnered with a housing charity to build affordable homes. Claire walked beside me, blueprints in hand. "You know," she said, "you didn't have to donate that much of your profit." "I know," I said. "But it felt right. That house took enough from people. It's time it gave something back." She glanced at me. "You really are changing." I smiled. "Or maybe I'm just remembering who I was before bitterness took over." "Same difference," she teased. Workers moved around us, voices shouting, hammers echoing, laughter cutting through the noise. It felt alive. Constructive. The opposite of everything the past had been. "Feels good, doesn't it?" she said. "Yeah," I admitted. "I used to think revenge was justice. But it's just another form of holding on. And letting go. That's freedom," I said. "Real, quiet freedom." She watched me for a moment, then nudged me with her elbow. "You're kind of poetic when you're not brooding." I laughed. "Guess you bring out my better lines." "Or maybe you finally stopped rehearsing the old ones," she said, smirking. She was right. For years, I'd replayed every argument, every betrayal, every what if. But now, it all felt like background noise fading under the hum of something new. Claire unrolled the blueprints on the hood of my car. "We're calling this block New Haven, right?" "Yeah," I said. "Fitting name. New beginnings, new homes." She smiled. "New you." I looked around, the foundation, the open space, the sunlight cutting through dust in the air. "Yeah," I said quietly. "Exactly that." She grinned. "You know, if someone had told me 6 months ago that I'd be building houses with the guy who used to glare at every meeting." I raised an eyebrow. I did not glare. "Oh, you glared," she said, laughing. "Like you were allergic to happiness." I smirked. "Guess I'm in remission." She laughed harder. "You're impossible." "Better than miserable," I said. Her laughter softened into a smile. "You're happy, aren't you?" I thought about it. I think I am. Or at least, I'm learning how to be without needing revenge to feel alive. Claire folded the plans. "That's progress." "Yeah," I said. "It's peace disguised as progress." The wind shifted, carrying the faint sound of a hammer striking wood. It was rhythmic, like a heartbeat. The heartbeat of something being rebuilt, not destroyed. Claire leaned against the car. "So what now?" "Now." I looked at her. "We keep building." "Metaphorically or literally?" she asked, grinning. "Both," I said. We watched the crew work, sunlight bouncing off the steel beams. For once, the future didn't scare me, it called to me. Claire turned toward me. "You ever think about them? Lena and Ryan?" I shook my head. "Not really. I think about who I was when I knew them. That's enough." "And who are you now?" I smiled. "Someone who finally stopped needing an audience to feel whole." She studied me for a moment, then nodded. "Then you've already won." I looked at her, the wind tugging strands of her hair across her face. "Maybe. But winning doesn't feel like I thought it would." "What does it feel like?" she asked softly. Light, I said. Like breathing after holding it too long. She smiled. That's the best kind of revenge, you know. I turned toward the half-built homes, the promise they carried. Yeah, I whispered. Sometimes, the sweetest revenge is simply living better than before.